We're told that success comes from focus, commitment, and choosing one thing early. Pick a direction, stick with it, don't change your mind, don't quit. But for people with many interests, that advice doesn't lead to freedom. It leads to frustration, burnout, and a quiet feeling of being stuck. It feels like wearing a stiff costume that gives them a little room to move. Not because they lack discipline, but because the rule itself may be wrong for them. If you've always felt pulled in multiple directions, curious about many things, excited by different fields, unable to reduce yourself to one clear path, this isn't a failure of character. It may be a mismatch between how your mind works and the career logic you've been trying to follow. Most career systems are built on a simple assumption: progress is linear. You choose a path, go deeper and deeper into it, and over time, that depth turns into success. For some minds, that works beautifully. But not all minds operate that way. For people with many interests, narrowing down too early doesn't create clarity. It creates tension. Every choice feels like a loss. Every commitment feels like closing the door on parts of yourself that are still very much alive. So you try harder. You push yourself to focus. You tell yourself to be more disciplined, more consistent, more serious. You try to silence your curiosity. And instead of moving forward, your energy begins to fade. This is where the misunderstanding begins. Having many interests is often mistaken for being unfocused, inconsistent, or unable to commit. But curiosity and discipline are not opposites. For many people, curiosity is the source of their discipline. The real problem isn't that you're interested in too much. The problem is that you've been trying to force all of that interest into a structure that only works for one kind of mind. Some minds create value through depth in one narrow area. Others create value through integration, by connecting ideas, perspectives, and skills across different domains. For integrative minds, focus doesn't come from exclusion, it comes from coherence. Trying to force yourself into a single, fixed path can destroy the very thing that makes your thinking powerful. Because what looks like too many interests from the outside is often a highly sensitive pattern recognition system on the inside. Your mind isn't jumping randomly. It's scanning, comparing, linking. And when that movement is shut down, motivation doesn't increase. It collapses. So if choosing one thing isn't the answer, what is? What works is letting go of the idea that you need a fixed identity early on. Much of the pressure people with many interests feel comes from the belief that they're supposed to know who they are, clearly, confidently, and permanently. That by a certain age, you should be able to name your role, your path, your thing. But for integrative minds, identity isn't something you choose once. It's something that evolves. Trying to lock it down too soon creates anxiety, not clarity. Because every definition feels incomplete. Every label feels temporary. What actually changes things isn't a plan. It's a shift in how you relate to yourself. Instead of constantly asking, which part of me should I choose? You begin to ask a quieter question. What keeps pulling my attention, again and again, no matter what I'm doing? Not a job title, not a role, but a recurring orientation. This shift does something subtle. It stops turning curiosity into a problem that needs fixing and starts treating it as information. Over time, patterns begin to appear, not because you forced them, but because you finally allowed them to exist. And this is where something else begins to change. When curiosity stops being judged, self-criticism softens. The constant inner pressure to finally get it right eases. People with many interests often carry an invisible layer of self-doubt, not because they're failing, but because they've been measuring themselves against the wrong standard for years. Every detour feels like a mistake. Every shift feels like proof that they're behind. But when you start understanding how your mind actually works, that story begins to loosen. You become more patient with yourself, less harsh in your self-evaluation, more willing to trust that what you're drawn to has a reason. And with less internal resistance, your energy returns, not as frantic motivation, but as steadiness, not as urgency, but as clarity. When you're no longer fighting yourself, it becomes easier to see where your strengths naturally come together, and easier to move in that direction without forcing. This changes how you build a career. Instead of asking, which single path should I choose? You begin asking, how can I create a structure where these interests can interact? Because for minds like yours, value doesn't come from repetition alone. It comes from accumulation. Skills stack quietly. Insights resurface years later. What once seemed unrelated suddenly clicks into place. Nothing you learn disappears. Nothing you explore is wasted. It all gathers until one day you realize you're standing on more ground than you thought. Let me speak directly to you. You may be someone who feels capable, curious, and intelligent, and yet slightly out of sync with the world. You may have tried committing to one path, only to feel drained or restless, or moved between interests while carrying a quiet sense of guilt for not sticking to one thing. But there may be nothing wrong with you. Your mind may simply be designed to work across boundaries, not inside them. People like you often make sense of things later than others, but when you do, your understanding runs deep. You notice connections others miss. You integrate experiences instead of discarding them. And when you stop fighting your nature and start designing around it, something shifts. Focus returns, not as pressure, but as alignment. Commitment becomes possible, not because options disappear, but because meaning begins to emerge. This is what a powerful career looks like for people with many interests. Not fast, not linear, and not always obvious from the outside. It's coherent over time. Success here isn't measured by how early you choose or how narrowly you define yourself. It's measured by how well your work reflects the patterns that have always mattered to you. You're not behind, you're not scattered, and you don't need to shrink yourself to move forward. You need a structure that allows you to gather yourself fully. Your path isn't something you're failing to find. It's something you are deliberately building.